Hi, welcome back to Danny Harris Arts, and I'm getting ready to start a new project today, and I'm going to be working on two at a time, and these are going to be largemouth. Well, actually, one's going to be a largemouth bass and one is going to be a spotted bass. I had a guy, two different people commissioned me to do a largemouth, and one of the guys messaged me here a few days ago and asked me if he could change his to a smallmouth bass, and which is fine because I already had one carved and I sent him some pictures of it and he loved it, so he don't have to wait. So I sent him the smallmouth. So instead of doing another largemouth, since I got the blank already cut out, I've always wanted to do a spotted bass, and down south here in Arkansas we call them Kentucky bass. And the body shape is real similar, is identical to a largemouth. There's a few anatomical differences, like the dorsal fin, the spiny dorsal and the soft dorsal are connected by just a little bit of a bridge, and whereas on a largemouth they're almost separated. And the maxilla bone that's on the side of the mouth on a largemouth comes back past the eye a little bit, and then with the mouth closed it comes back past the eye a little bit. And on a Kentucky spotted bass, it's more even with the eye, or kind of between the pupil and the back of the eye. And then of course on the smallmouth it's even shorter. And there's another thing inside their mouth, on the tongue on a spotted bass. There's a little rough tooth patch, and sometimes there's two in front of each other, small. And on a largemouth, that's absent. I mean, I've actually seen largemouth with that, but very seldom. But Kentuckies always have them. So, and they also have, a lot of times down here, have a red eye, and it's a real striking color. The pattern on them is sometimes more prominent in the dark lateral line that goes down the side. On a Kentucky, a lot of times is solid and real pronounced. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But I'm still going to work on the bodies at the same time. I try to do these series in five segments or so, but since I'm going to have to paint the Kentucky a whole different paint scheme, I probably will do 6 or 7 series on this to get it all in, because I want to do it all as one video. So my plan is to do the spotted bass and use it as one of my entries in the 2026 World Taxidermy Fish Carving Championship. And I want to talk about that just for a second here. The last day, if you saw my last video, the last day of the competition, we have what they call is a round table discussion, and we get all the competitors that come in, the show judges and the show organizers, and everybody gets together and they just kind of talk out things about what we experienced that week, what we're hoping to see in the future. And one of the things we've talked about is raising awareness for the fish carving division. The taxidermy side set a record for the number of entries this year, and the fish carving side was just kind of so-so. We only had one youth entry. There's four levels. There's a youth division, novice division, intermediate, and the open. And we only had, like I say, we only had one entry in the youth, and there was none in the novice. But we had a lot of guys in the intermediate and the open class. I was in the intermediate. So we want to raise awareness for the fish carving side of it, and hopefully get more competitors come in and grow that show, grow that division. One of the ways we talked about doing that is we started a Facebook group, and it's called Fish Carving Inspiration. And what we'd like is to invite you guys that are fish carvers to come join the group, and maybe we can inspire you to think about coming and entering the 2026 fish carving division of the World Taxidermy Fish Carving Championships. So if you're a fish carver and you've never competed before, you got 2 years to do it. So make you up a couple good pieces and think about coming and entering the 2026 World Taxidermy Fish Carving Championship. It's a great experience. The seminars are fantastic. You'll learn so much from the judges or from the master guys. They hate it when I call them masters, but if you've been carving 30 plus years and have won multiple world titles, in my book you're a master carver. But anyway, you learn a lot from them from the seminars. It's just a great time overall, and you get to see these guys work up close, and you can learn a lot from just looking at it up close, more than you can looking at it on a picture or a video. So anyway, just think about it. Like I say, if you're a fish carver, come join the group, and it's fish carving inspiration. If you're a duck wood carver, or you carve other wildlife and you're thinking about carving a fish, carve one, come join the group and carve one, and post pictures, and a lot of the guys will give you some tips and tricks, tell you what your strengths and weaknesses are. Nobody's gonna make fun of you, I promise. And it's just a great way to learn, and hopefully we can inspire you to come and enter the 2026 World Taxidermy and Fish Carving Championship. So anyway, I'm going to get started here. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them for me in the comments section below. And if you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you consider subscribing. Hit that thumbs up if you like these videos, and I'm going to get started. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do here is draw in my center line. I want to keep this on here at all times. That's just help me keep the symmetry down. Do that on both of these here. Alright, and it don't really matter which one I start on here, so and I won't show both of them. I'm going to do both of them, but I won't show smoothing them both down. So this is the top and this is the bottom. So what I'm going to be using here is this extra coarse ball nose cuts all bit. And I'm just going to start here carving down the edges of it. And what I'm doing is if you saw the last video cutting out the blank, I mean, of course I cut out the top and the side of it, and then I kind of chamfer off the edges with the bandsaw just so I don't have to hog off so much material. But what I do to start out with is I just go through and I'm rounding off all these chamfered edges. Okay, so once I have it all rounded off, I need to go get my pattern. But once I have it all rounded off, then I start looking at the cross section of it. So I want the back to have a nice gradual slope up to the top of the back. And then of course the belly will be a little more rounded. And I can tell by looking at that it's going to have a lot more to go, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that down some more. What I try to do is almost chamfer straight, make a facet here, so to speak, on the top, coming down, and then another facet, and another, and then round them off. So let's see if I can show you that here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's kind of flat here. And then I'll do another one down here lower. And then I'll stop and look at the contours. See, I want it to taper up more from the midsection, a steeper taper here, and then it'll be more of a rounded here on the belly. I need to get my pattern out. So I'm real close on the shape that I want. I went ahead and drew in the tail. I had some extra here that I didn't cut off. I did on this one. I guess I forgot to do it on this one. But I'll cut that off on a bandsaw and get it closer to what it's shaped. But the actual pattern is what I want to watch here. So back here it needs to thin down a little bit back here by the caudal peduncle. But I think well, maybe just a little bit here to find this back here in the anal area here. So, and I'll make several. I'll make several as I go. References to the pattern. And one of the things on the cross section where I want this to go is like for this area right here, from just behind the head, which would be this area here. I want the cross section to look almost pear-shaped. So this would be the top of the back, and then the belly. And then as it gets closer to the back, of course this gets smaller. And then when it gets down to this area down here, past the anal fin and the dorsal fin, it's going to be more oval, rounded. So that'll be the cross section down here. If that's making sense. So I don't want to do it all at once. I'm just going to kind of sneak up on it, and I keep looking at it and making sure it's all symmetrical all the way down, and then watching the back, watching the belly. And then as I get ready to carve the tail fin, I'll start defining this caudal peduncle. Matter of fact, I may do that now, just to start getting it in, and so I can see, because it's got to thin down pretty quick down here too. So it's going to have to thin down. Let me draw it on this side here. So it's going to have to narrow down this way, and then it's going to taper down for the caudal peduncle area. And of course the fin will come off the back here. So I'm going to get started back here. Actually, I think I'm going to go cut this off because it's just the OCD in me. Alright, started to define the shape a little better. I don't know if you can see that. Little tapering to the top of the back there, leaving just a little bit of a belly on it here, kind of defining the anal fin area. Where's the dorsal fin areas, and I think I'm gonna define the caudal peduncle here just a little bit here. So let me see here. All right, I've got the that where I need it, that where I need it. Kind of bear down a little bit where I can see my line here. Well, that didn't help. In case you didn't see what I did, I drew a pencil line, heavy pencil line on that side, and then when I just dropped my pencil, and then when I traced over the line, it drew it on there for me. So I'm going to do the same here. Let me draw this on first. So it's about up there. You can see, barely see that. Lets me see where my line is. So what I'll do here is I'm going to go outside of this tail a little bit here. Start defining this caudal peduncle here. I'm not going to worry about the tail yet here. I just want that to where I can start defining that. And I'll use a smaller bit to define that even further. But for right now, I just want to get this shape down. And I think I'm real close. And what I like to do is I'll get it to a rough shape like this, and then I may look at it for a day or two and compare it to the pattern some more. Maybe even start drawing on the gill pattern, because that'll kind of help me start defining the head. So I'm gonna stop there. I'm I'm actually going to finish this one today too, but I'm not going to show that on camera. You get the idea of how I'm working here. So I'm going to stop there for right now and look at it for a day or two. Then I'll come back and refine it down some more. And then I can already see I need to take some of the, I've already actually got a little bit of the belly formed here. A little bit of the belly here. And I can already tell I need to come down some more right in here. You can kind of see some of the belly starting to form there. I want to show just a little bit of gut on them. They don't have to always have to have a gut, but I just like a little bit of a gut on there, so I'm going to show that. And I really should be showing, since I draw a lot of my own patterns, a lot of commercial patterns you get will actually have these cross sections on there. And this is actually off of a commercial pattern, but I drew the side profile out myself. But this is actually off of a commercial pattern because it shows the fin positions. One side will be the top fins, and then this side will be where the anal fin is, and then the dorsal fin will be from right here up to right here. And then this little line here, there'll be one on both sides. That'll be the pectoral fins. So, and then I already know where I want my actually pelvic fins, and then I know where my pectorals will be. So, but like I say, I'm going to finish this down. I'm going to stop right there for right now, and then I'm going to look at it for a day or so, and that lets me see where I need to. Just right now I can't really tell, but after I look at it for a day or two, then I can start seeing areas that I need to refine down and smooth out and start shaping the actual form of the fish. So I'm going to stop there. For you, it's just going to, for me, it's going to be a day or two. For you, it's just going to be a second. All right, I've looked at it for a couple days now and compared it with my pattern, and I decided I need to take, this needs to be thinned down back here a little bit, and then I need to take the caudal peduncle down just a little bit from the back of the dorsal to the fin, to the tail fin here, and I need to shape up the side of the head a little more. So I'm going to get started on that. So I'm going to start thinning this down back here. All right, I think I'm close to start refining everything down a little bit, making sure it's nice and smooth, that the belly's deformed, or formed, not deformed. And then I'm gonna start paying closer attention to the head area here, where the mouth and lips are. So what I've got here, I mentioned it already that I'm going to be doing instead of 2 largemouth, one's going to be a largemouth, and then I'm going to do the other one's going to be a spotted bass. And if you've never seen a spotted bass before, you can see some of the differences here, like the fin. The spiny dorsal and the soft dorsal are connected right here, and their eyes generally are red, not always, but generally red. And the maxilla bone here only comes down to about the back of the eye. And if you notice, the coloration on them is slightly different. The dark lateral line here is usually more pronounced, and they have more of a bright scale tipping on the top, and then they have these series of almost perfectly straight lateral dots here. So and then you look at a largemouth, the maxilla bone comes back past the back of the eye. So it comes back farther back, and the dorsal, the spiny and second dorsal is almost separated. Sometimes it is, sometimes there's a tiny little bit of a flap in there. All right, so spotted bass and a largemouth, they're gonna be rough. They're gonna be the same size. So let me get finished there. Let me get going. So I think I've got this one down, like I say, close enough to where I want it. And then I'm going to take, I'm going to start working on the other one, on the spotted bass, and get it shaped out so you can kind of see where I went from the rough cutout blank here to a more refined shape, starting to shape up more like a actual fish. And there's still just a little bit of touch-up work I need to do here, and I'm gonna do that with a finer grit cuts all. This is the fine, and that'll kind of smooth everything out a little bit. And then I'll do some hand sanding as I get closer with I like these foam. I need to get some more, but I like these foam block sanders, and I get them in 60 grit and 120 grit, because it lets you follow the contours easier. Plus it fits my hand better, and I don't have to mess with changing out sandpaper on the holders or doing it by hand. These seem to work good for me, so that's what I use to sand them down with. All right, I'm gonna get started on this other one, and I'm gonna do it all off camera, but when I get close to this stage, I'll show it to you. All right, so I got them both kind of thinned down to where I want them. There's still some more refining I gotta do. Like I said, I'm getting ready to swap over to this finer bit here and take it down just a little bit more, start smoothing it out, and I'll check it against the pattern several more times. And the largemouth's going to be a little thicker in the belly. I'm going to make the spotted bass a little thinner, a little more streamlined. And one of the things I forgot to mention is spotted bass don't get as big as largemouth. I think our state record in Arkansas is only about 5 or 6 pounds. I'll have to look it up. I'm not exactly sure, but typically they don't get as big as the largemouth. And you'll usually find them, they tend to favor more open water, main lake points and rocky riprap banks, and you won't find them in, I mean, you'll catch them in standing timber and grass and lily pads, but more likely you're gonna find these guys out in more open areas of the lake. All right, so I'm gonna swap over the bits here and check these patterns out, and see if there's anything else I need to take down. I need to kind of define this caudal peduncle area more here. But my pencil's in the house, so I gotta go get it. All right, I'll be back in a minute. All right, so I got the caudal peduncle drawn out here, and I'm going to define that end here. I'm using this flame burr because it does good around, lets you get close and lets you get around corners. All right, so now I'm going to swap over here to this round. Get this one off. I like to use this one kind of shaping these tails a little bit. I'm just going to get it rough down. I'm not going to start defining this tail until I get the body finished, but I want to get it close here. All right, like I say, I'll bring those down farther as I get close, ready to work on the detail of the tails. So I'll do the same on this, get it down, work out my motion in it, which is going to be similar to the same. I'm going to kind of keep them the same, just so I can keep the flow running smoother. So let's see here. So I got the caudal peduncle pretty even here. I think I'm gonna swap over and start refining the body down a little bit more with the finer bits here, and then I'll do some hand sanding. All right, so I'm using this finer ball nose cuts all to just kind of take out the lumps and start smoothing some of the tool marks down from the course, because this leaves some deep tool marks. So as you can see, this one's a lot finer. It still removes a lot of wood, so you got to be careful, but I'm just going to use it to smooth everything out, little lumpy areas, before I get ready to do hand sanding. A lot of them, probably not show on the camera, but a lot of those lumps where it's lumpy, it's not completely smooth, I can see, but occasionally you'll see me rub my fingers over, I can feel a little lump or a dip, then I try to smooth it out. And hand sanding will get a lot of that out also. All right, so I've got it. Looks pretty straight, pretty symmetrical. I think I've got it where I want it. Then I'm gonna start hand sanding now. Got a little flat spot right there. I need to round that belly off just a little bit. All right, that looks better. Say this one ain't gonna have quite the same thickness as this one will. This will be the spotted bass. I want it to be a little more slender. All right, so I'm gonna start doing some hand sanding here, smoothing everything out. Still got some lumps in there I need to get out. All right, I'm gonna get on the hand sanding and I'll be back here in a minute. All right, that's gonna be it for part one of this twin bass wood carving project. Actually, they're not twins because one's gonna be a largemouth and one's gonna be a spotted bass. But in this segment, I got the bodies shaped out to the shape I want, and I still got some hand sanding to do on it. I thought I had some fine sanding blocks, but I don't, so I'm gonna have to get some and finish up the hand sanding. But I'm gonna do that off camera, so I don't have to bore you with that. But part two coming up, I'm gonna be carving the mouth and gill detail on both of them, and I may show that in both because there's a little bit there's some differences in them that I need to show, and so I'll show both of that as I do it. But if you have any questions, comments about this step, I know it was kind of a boring one, but it's necessary. But if you have any questions, comments, you can leave them for me in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you consider subscribing and hit that thumbs up button if you like these videos. All right, I want to take just a couple minutes here real quick to talk about something that I actually talked about at the very beginning of the video. But for me, it's been 3 days since I talked about it, and we've had some changes. So for you, it's only been 20 or 30 minutes. But we started the first Facebook group called Fish Carving Inspiration, and we made a mistake and we accidentally set it up as a private group, and we didn't intend to do that, and we can't change it back. So what that means is you can't do a search for the group and find it. So you have to be invited by somebody within the group. Again, that's not what we intended. So what we've done is we've put this first group on pause and we started a new group. It's also called Fish Carving Inspiration, but it's we had to change the name just a little bit because you can't have two of the same name. So Fish Carving in this new one is one word. So Fish Carving Inspiration, one word, and I'll put a link in the description below to the page as well. So, but we'd love to have you come join the group if you're a fish carver, if you're thinking about carving fish, if you carve ducks and birds or other wildlife, and you're interested in carving a fish, then this group's for you. If you're a taxidermist and you're thinking about carving a fish, then you can come join this group. You can bring a piece to the World Taxidermy Fish Carving Championship on the taxidermy side, and then you can enter a fish on the wood carving side. If you have kids that like to come in the shop and carve with you, let them carve a fish, help them carve something, let them do it, let them paint it. And then there's a youth division, so you can come make it a family affair. You can enter the novice, intermediate, or the open, whatever your skill level is, whatever you're comfortable with, and then your kids can enter the youth division. So you can make it a big family affair. It's a great time. The seminars are great. The seminars are taught by experts that have decades of experience and have won multiple world titles. You can come away with a wealth of information, tips and tricks, and then plus you get to see everybody's work up close and in person, And to me, seeing that 3D aspect of someone's work lets me see all the detail at once, and I can kind of move around it and see. And to me, it clicks better in my head when I can see a 3D version of it versus a photograph or on a YouTube channel. But don't stop watching my YouTube videos. But again, what the group is for is to raise awareness for the Fish Carving and Taxidermy Championship. And if you join this group, hopefully it'll inspire you to carve a fish and maybe thinking about coming down and entering the 2026 competition. But I appreciate you guys watching, and if you have any questions or comments about it, you can leave them in the comments section below, and I'll see you on part 2 coming up when I carve the detail on the mouth and gills of these guys.